There's a Morgan over there?
Morgan's, yeah.
Yeah.
And the aero engine stuff is up there.
Did you ever get to spend much time with Phil Hill?
Yeah, I knew Phil very well.
Did
I
you?
loved Phil. Yeah, he was a great guy. We had his, I think his 80th or 81st birthday party here, and it was great. Everybody showed up.
Yeah.
Dan Gurney, Parnelli,
Wow.
all the race car drivers from the 50s and 60s. Yeah, he was a wonderful guy.
Well, I appreciate you giving us time like this, man.
Yeah, no
'Cause I know
problem.
you're super, super busy, so.
Not really.
It's,
Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming by. Well,
but-
last time at the bookstore, you were doing
Yes.
a book signing, and I stopped by.
Then,
That's how
you know,
this happened.
The 2 times I've been at the bookstore, the first time was with Parnelli doing the book. You came in.
Oh,
You did. Thank you for
Oh yeah, no
stopping
problem,
in.
no problem.
That was very nice. Man, everybody's been in this place. It's evolved. It's
Yeah, I guess that's fair to say. Sure. Yeah. I mean, you start with an empty building and then eventually fill it up. Yeah.
People always associate you with first time people say cars, like, oh, Jay Leno. But how did you get into cars?
Well, I grew up in a rural area, Andover, Massachusetts, and there were always, when I was a kid, and I'm not much older than you, boys are just expected to know how to fix
Yeah.
cars and things. You
Use
know,
your
my mother
hands.
knew nothing about cars. When a Valiant didn't start, you needed to take off the big round thing, stick a screwdriver down the little round thing, hold the flap open, pour some gas in it, and it would start. I mean, she was not mechanically, it's just something people had to do.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for young people to know anything about a car anymore, because cars don't really break unless you're interested in old cars, you know. So you don't have that, a great deal of satisfaction of getting something to move under its own power. You know, I'm in a business which is subjective. Some people like you, some people think you suck. And they're both right. I mean, if I don't make you laugh, then you're right. If I do, well, then you're right too. But when something's broken and you fix it, no one can deny that it's not running. You know, so that's what's kind of satisfying about doing this. My first car was a 55 Buick I bought when I first came to California. I just got on a plane one day and said, you know, if you don't go to California now, I'm never going to go. Because I was living in Boston trying to be a comedian, and you couldn't really make a living as a comedian then. And my friends, I had friends that were actors and actresses that were waiters or waitresses, and well, they want to be an actor, but they want to get a nice apartment, so they can't go to the audition because they have to work that day. You know, it just becomes I figured, you know, if I don't leave now. So one night I said, I'm going to California. I told my neighbors, take anything you want in the apartment, and I just left. I fly here, I land at LAX. I said, I got to get a car. So I go over and I pick up the penny saver, and I said, oh, 55 Buick, Winchester. I said, the guy, how far is Winchester? And the guy said, oh, about 6 miles. Oh, that's good, okay. So in my head, I'll go there and I'll buy that car. I didn't think, I'll look at it, you know. So I get to Winchester and the cab drops me off. And you got a car for sale? It looked okay. I figured, well, if I don't buy it, I got to call a cab to take me somewhere. So I bought it. It's just stupid. Just no thinking involved at all. And I had that and I lived in it for a while. It was great. I still got it. Now it's got all Corvette suspension and a 572 big block and a few other things in it, but it's still basically the car.
I loved Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, sat in my grandpa's lap watching Johnny Carson, and then you took over from that.
I always called him Mr. Carson. I grew up in the East. You know, when I come to California, people, Jay, these are my parents, Bob and Agnes. How are you, Mr. and Mrs. Millicelli? I can't call you Bob. I don't call people's parents Bob and Agnes. I mean, I do now because I'm older than their parents, but you know, it's just very. So when I would do Johnny, I go, well, thank you, Mr. Carson. Jay, call me Johnny. Okay, Johnny. You know, it just sounded. See, with Letterman, I could trash Dave, nice tie, and I could flip his tie over because we were contemporaries. So that's why it works so well because I could be a wise guy. I couldn't be a wise. I didn't want to be a wise guy with Johnny because it just didn't fit. But I like comedians that look normal but are funny. Carson, Newhart. I wasn't like, I didn't like the Milton Berle type of a big banana or whatever it is, or just, you know, hitting people with a giant powder puff. Or what, you know, I like people that were ungimmicky funny. You know, didn't have a gimmick, didn't have a trick, didn't have a catchphrase. You know, like Newhart, who we just lost recently. I was a huge fan of Bob Newhart. Boy, he was the funniest guy because he didn't have a hook. He wasn't ethnic. He didn't have a catchphrase. He just had funny jokes. And never an unkind word. I never heard Newhart do a mean joke.
No.
Sarcastic and funny in my behavior, but never mean-spirited. You know, he always had that subtle sort of my favorite joke that he did, and it's not that that's funny, but I think it's funny. He used to do a bit about the first astronaut to have communication with an extraterrestrial. You know. So he comes back to Earth, and there's a huge press conference. You know, they all want to know about the extraterrestrial. A woman reporter says, "How far ahead of us are they?" And Bob says, "About 6 weeks." And 6 weeks, you know, 6 months you're not going to catch up. 2 weeks, but the fact that your enemy is 6 weeks, you never catch. They're just 6 weeks ahead of us. You know, they have the jet 6 weeks before we do. They have the machine gun. Everything is. It just struck me as so funny because it's just a slider. You know, it just eases right in. It's not. Here's the big punchline. He was never that kind of guy. He just always had those little jokes. You know, and I told that. And I said that in an article like 3 months ago. And Newhart just sent me a nice letter. You know, oh, thanks so much. That was one of my favorite jokes too. And I said, oh, okay. Well, I think he was thrilled that people noticed that about his style. All comedians grew up in the Depression. That kids today with the long hair, you know, it was all that kind of comedy. And Robert Klein, George Carlin, they were just middle-class white guys like me. They just said funny things. So I always watched them and admired them, you know.
Somebody that got to host the Tonight Show a bunch of times, Joan.
Joan Rivers, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Joan. Joan was the first autograph I ever got.
Really?
You know, it was very awkward because she and Johnny had a huge falling out.
Oh.
Yeah, when
I know that.
she went to Fox, because Johnny kind of made her a star hosting his show.
Yeah.
And he saw that sort of the betrayal, so he never put her on again. And when I got the Tonight Show, Johnny didn't say in so many words, don't put her on, but you kind of got, the network was not,
wow.
Okay. After Johnny passed away, when Johnny died, I said, I think it's time to put Joan on again. So I called and I said, can we wait a couple of months just to let it, no, I want to come on now. And she got all, I said, just give us a couple of months so it doesn't look like we jumped. It just got kind of awkward, but I always liked her. I thought she was very funny, very funny, yeah.
David Brenner.
Oh, I knew David very well.
Yeah.
You know, when you do comedy, you're sort of, like I was a senior when Jerry was a sophomore.
Yeah.
And the graduating class at that time was Klein, David Steinberg, George Carlin, and a few others. You know, you sort of move up in your group, you know. And Brenner was in that same group as Klein and those guys.
Yeah.
Probably, he was about 10 years older than me, maybe a little bit older, which is a full generation, you know. So it always, so I just thought, I like David. He hosted many times as well, too, yeah.
Yeah, he seemed like a fixture on
Yeah,
Tonight
yeah,
Show.
yeah, he did good. I remember I had Roger Moore on one time. And I said, where do you like to go when you were not working? Oh, go to India. Oh, India? Yes, it's lovely. How often do you go there? Oh, every weekend. I go, every weekend to India? That seems like it's a lot. No, not really. Well, do you drive? Drive? No, of course not. You can't drive to India. Well,
One word answers.
I guess that's true. I couldn't figure out, and I look at my producer, I'm going, and he goes, this is a fascinating place, and there's spas, and he's going on and on about it. You know? I said, hang on a second. How do you get to India? Because it seems like it'd be a 2-day trip. No, it's an hour. An hour to India. Yes. India, and he was saying it was Indio, California. But it was like 7 minutes of, what are you talking about? I'm looking at them, everybody's going,